You know, an interesting thing about our sport is that, well, ours is not a written history. Our legend and lore is passed from generation to generation through word of mouth and storytelling. And it's in these tales that a surfer hears about that elusive perfect wave. Well, a while back, we heard such a rumor, and our journey led us here to the exotic jungles of Costa Rica. Join us as we quest for our perfect wave on Surfer Magazine. If there is a tropical Camelot, then peaceful Costa Rica is it. About the size of West Virginia, this temperate paradise is known as the Switzerland of Central America. Despite the military and political turbulence of its neighbors to the north, this country has maintained the best working democracy in Latin America, and her people have taken pride in its stability since the late 40s. Geographically and culturally, the rich coast truly lives up to its name. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we here at Surfer Magazine were intrigued when we heard rumors of fantastic waves that were breaking along our shores. And in the time-honored spirit of safari, we decided to go search for them ourselves. We figured if Bruce Brown could do it when he filmed his classic, The Endless Summer, then so could we. The only catch was, Bruce had taken 2 years to find his perfect waves. And us? Well, in order to meet this show's deadline, we only had 5 days. Upon our arrival in the capital of San Jose, we quickly packed up our van and lit off in frantic search. Our crew, which consisted of myself, hot Californian surfer Chris Burke, our producer Ira Opper, and coordinator Rick Slade, decided the best thing to do was to hit the streets and start looking for anyone who might know the way to this secret surf. Now, this was soon proved easier said than done. The only tip we got was from this old guy who said he'd heard of a restaurant on the outskirts of town where it was rumored that a lot of the local surfers hung out. And he added, if we were lucky enough, we might even run into this guy called Mario, who knew everything about surfing in Costa Rica. Pretty encouraged by this, we set out immediately with our faithful driver Jorge, hoping that this clandestine meeting would give us the break we needed. You know, this is a map that we put together at Surfer Magazine through information. Now, these guys told us that although our map was fine and dandy, the only way we were guaranteed waves was if we were to somehow get to the Pacific coast and find this guy named Mario. Apparently, this Mario character knew all. Well, we thought at least the tips we'd heard were consistent, so we set off again, looking forward to tracking the surf down that next day. Now, despite an all-night drive and sketchy directions to the beach, our crew was still determined to milk day 2 for all it was worth. Well, we did reach the coast where we found a nifty little beach break. And although it wasn't exactly the perfection we sought, it sure looked good enough to Chris, who soon had me talked into giving it a try. And after almost 24 hours of being cooped up in the van, Chris was out in no time ripping it up. Now, as for myself, well, I wasn't quite sure what to make of our latest find, which probably explains my behavior on this wave when for some reason I decided to sacrifice myself in the shore break. You see, at this point, I was starting to lose a little focus on what this trip was all about. We were supposed to be surfing perfect waves, weren't we? Now, Matt, Chris was telling me, things aren't all that bad. We got a little surf, and besides, look at us, we're in Costa Rica. Well, I guess he was right. But back at base camp that evening, everyone agreed with me. We just had to find this Mario guy if this lost weekend of ours was ever going to work. After all, we only had 3 days left. Now, by the time the middle of our 3rd day had rolled around and we still hadn't found perfection, we were starting to get a little concerned. and so decided to check out a spot up the coast marked on our treasure map as a best bet. Well, after unloading all the gear again, what we found wasn't exactly ideal. In fact, it was just another little beach break. But Chris was stoked just the same. And if you surfed as well as this guy, you'd be stoked too. Chris talked me into giving it another try, and, well, I guess it wasn't so bad. But after an hour of this, Chris and I had had just about enough and went in to find some local surfers who said they'd heard that Mario was just down the coast surfing great waves. Just head south, they said, and turn right at the Pig. Well, we found the Pig, but there was still no surf in sight. In fact, all Rick saw as he stood there in the midday heat was a mirage. Well, there was nothing left for it than to head north again. It was rumored that there were waves and a great hotel up the coast at a place called Hocko Beach. And at this point, a good night's sleep sounded pretty good to us. That next morning, Chris and I woke up early to find that it was yet another beautiful day. And we couldn't believe our eyes when we saw some pretty good waves peeling off right out in front of the hotel. And that our producer, Ira, had already paddled out at dawn for a solo session before his day's work had begun. This was truly a promising start. Now, even though this may not have been the end of the rainbow for perfect surf, it didn't take very long for Chris and I to jump in. Like I said, it was a great way to wake up. But with just 2 days left now to find a perfect wave, even the ever-optimistic Chris Burke was beginning to feel the strain. Seeing this, Ira could tell that things were getting pretty serious around here, so he called me into his office for a personal conference to see if we could come up with some sort of solution to our dilemma. Now, little did we know that Rick was busy on the beach with his own ideas. You see, it just so happened that the Costa Rican national surfing champion was the lifeguard on duty that day. And since Rick spoke perfect Spanish, he thought he'd ask this guy if he knew any shortcuts to some great surf. Well, our new friend explained, look, guys, there's no such thing as a shortcut in Costa Rica. But if I were you, I'd head north of here, and fast. I heard Mario is up at Langosta right now getting perfect surf.
Vamos.
So there we were, on our way again. And I soon found myself having to remind the crew of just what inspired us to come to Costa Rica in the first place.
And 7's down there?
Yeah, we can't go to 7 tonight. Not enough time.
Okay, what's 5? What's 4 and 5? The hotel?
Really are.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Now, this was getting ridiculous. It was getting dark, we were out in the middle of nowhere, and we only had 1 day left to find our perfect wave.
Now, gentlemen. All right, we're getting out of control here.
All right.
We got to remain positive.
Hey, you surfed today.
Yes, we did. We did surf today. It was pretty damn good.
And by the way,
Remember?
I'd like to see still a natural, you know,
Yeah, remaining positive was about all we had left. If there had been anyone around to tell us, I'm sure they would have said, "Man, you should have been here yesterday. It was perfect. Mario was ripping." Yeah, I could hear them now. Mario, Mario, Mario! We'd been on a wild goose chase all over the country trying to find this guy. From a restaurant in San Jose to Playa Hermosa. Then from there to the beach break. No dice. So it was off to Dolphin, where we'd even found the pig, but still no Mario. So we took a chance on Hako. Gee, must have just missed him. And then this, an all-day ordeal, and we were skunked again. Where were the waves? And where, oh where, was this Mario? Well, we finally found the elusive Mario. What a character. No wonder he was all over the place. He had the fastest boat in the country. Before long, we were in this jet boat, blasting up towards the border of Nicaragua. "Not to worry, my friends," he said. "I'm taking you to a secret spot." Well, I guess life isn't so cruel after all. You could call it a surfer's luck, but whatever it was, things were finally going our way. In less than an hour, Mario had us at the best right point break in northern Costa Rica, a spot we aptly nicknamed Ollie's Point. And as Chris paddled into this one, we knew we'd found that perfect wave we were looking for. On the very next wave, I decided to see for myself if this thing was for real, and quickly discovered that the shortest distance between 2 points is a perfect wave. From there, the session continued as if in a dream. Here we were, just two friends, trading great waves while surrounded by a tropical wilderness completely untouched by man. It was a magic moment for us, and as we took off on wave after wave, all the trouble and the hassles of getting there seemed to fall further behind. take too long before the rest of the crew realized what was going down here, and they soon joined all the fun. First, Ricky took off in just the right place, and then Ira exercised his executive privileges, and pretty soon, Ira was in the right place. It was Mario up next, showing his local knowledge by picking off one of the best-shaped waves of the day and ripping it. And then it was Rick, who'd finally got one all to himself. Towards the end of the day, we were all feeling pretty good about life, and everyone was determined to make their last waves in Costa Rica really count. I'll never forget paddling out, watching Chris on his. He was on fire, tearing it all the way to the beach. And on the last wave of the day, I lucked into this one, and it somehow seemed a fitting end to our journey. Racing back at dusk, we all couldn't help thinking back on the misadventures we'd had during our short stay, and, well, how at this point they only seemed to make this magic last day even better. It was time to go home now. Our mission was accomplished. So we said our warm goodbyes to our friend Mario, and as the sun set slowly in the west, we bid a fond farewell to beautiful Costa Rica. But we knew we'd be back someday, just to surf the perfect wave.